Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Gamecast, episode 561. I almost said 361. That's weird. I'm one of the hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Mike Snee.
What's up?
Corey Feinsod.
Ahoy.
And Tony Korkanakis.
I'm young.
Welcome, viewers and listeners, to 561 of the Gamecast. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe and the like button, by the way. I always forget in the beginning to say that, so I'm saying it now. Guys, we've got a show for you guys. We've got to talk about a bunch of stuff that we've been playing, some interesting news that's come out that's not Blizzard-related. So we'll get into that. Yeah, so let's kick it off with what we've been up to, what we've been playing, guys. We're going to do a little bit of a spoiler-filled, almost a kind of a bonus round here for those wondering, of 12 minutes. At this point, Corey's not going to play this game from what he's heard back from us. And I'm sure after what he's heard from us here, he will be done entirely thinking about it. But I think we're going to just mention that right now. Let's kick it off for a little bit, guys.
As soon as Tony talked about it, so
yeah. So I know, Mike, you've played 12 minutes.
Once you have control things like
so.
that is like a deal breaker for me.
You know,
if you don't get controls right, where you need controls to be precise, I'm out.
The problem is it's a speed-based
really
game.
That.
No, it is. It's based on being able to select
great.
things at the right time.
It's not great, but it's not that critical from what I've played.
I accidentally dropped the wrong item onto myself during the wrong time.
I know I've done that a few times too, but I've also had some stick drift too.
That's literally what we're just talking about.
I see the cursor just do this. This happens in all my games with my Xbox controllers, so I don't know how much I want to blame that. But
no, but I just told you I don't have stick drift with a brand new controller, and it just happened to me. So that's control based.
No, I can see it, but it's also
yes. So 12.
My other issue with this is that Tony suggested that I play this with Ashley watching, and it really caused problems because
I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut, and I'm just like,
she is not a gamer, but she got into it enough, but she got very frustrated, and she's just like literally just like a few attempts, she's just like, this is annoying. Why don't we just look up the answers? I'm like, no, I want to figure this out. And she does not understand that. It was a thing.
It gets into, but that gets into the gamer aspect of things, where it's like, why didn't they just clearly mark when you've done something correct? Like, why make it such a mystery? Like, if you were supposed to solve the game, why not say, hey, listen, you got this part done?
There needed to be some kind of progression indicator of some sort.
Like, how about a loop complete, or what loop you were in, or some progress of it?
And this is where they needed to refer to numerous amounts of Japanese visual novel/adventure games that have marked it clearly, where it's like I've talked about, like 999, Virtue's Last Reward, and stuff like that, where it's like, hey, look, like, here are the branch timelines, and like once you visualize it, you're like, oh wait, like there's a black
map
thing with a question, like I have to do something in this loop, like let me go back there and figure it out.
I would do that all the time. I've completed that game 100% because of that map. Yeah, the map helps. Yes, like I'm sure I missed some endings in this game. I don't give a fuck, because what I've seen, and I'm done with it. I'm good. I've gotten 3 endings of the game. That's all I need.
I'm curious about the other endings, and I do think that the sort of obtuseness of it is part of it. And I mean, to be honest, I think about it a lot. It's on my mind, and I do feel compelled to just find things out. But it also really makes you feel like you're in an unending time loop and want to kill yourself, because it makes you feel like that guy.
Yeah,
sort of.
I guess that's what it's trying to do. But like, I mean, the first time you hear Williams Dafoe's voice in a other character, at the end, I'm like,
use the everlasting piss out of me. First of all, everything is so slow paced. At least it feels like it when you see it a million times.
Yeah,
and then you finally get this revelation, which you kind of already guessed, but done in a weird way. Like, as soon as there was a brother mentioned, you're like, oh God, I'm gonna be the brother. But anyway, but so then the fucking you show the jackass the baby clothes, and then instantly people start like flipping out, and then I can't even tell who's talking anymore. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's his mother. I forgot. At this point, I had forgot that. And then you go back in time to the guy with hair, with his voice, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And I don't even remember what I chose there, but apparently it's important where it branched me next, what I said.
It's not incredibly important because if you don't say the right thing, you get back to the same loop again. The only time it's important is the ending of the game, where if you do say the right thing, it ends the loop for you entirely, and you can't get the other endings.
Which might have happened for me. But so, like, I think a lot of people are upset about the content. I think the content's kind of funny. I don't know. It doesn't.
I don't know, like
or anything.
Obviously, like again, guys, this is all spoilers, so we're about to just blow this game apart. Like the fact that it's all in your head is fine.
See,
the fact that it's incestuous is like, I'm like, why the fuck is this in here? Really?
Well, I mean, it's got to be shocking, but I don't like. It's
like,
not.
I'm like, that's the twist, really? Come on.
But I still don't really understand, because again, the ending that I got is, I said, the choose to be alone ending, right? So when
that's the ending.
But it's not, because it's not clear to me that it's all in his head, really, from what I've seen. I just end up being in an empty apartment.
No, then you're not done with it yet. No, you didn't. No, you didn't get the right ending yet. There's other things you can do.
But I had credits.
No, you get credits, and then there's another one you can do, and then there's a true ending that you can do.
The true ending, spoiler alert, will erase your progression in the game,
which is fine.
You need to replay. You need to replay.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, that's how you'll know.
Yeah.
So there's a book in this game.
Yeah, the fucking Memento book thing, which I did read. He looked at it and said something different recently when I just fucked around with it before the podcast.
Oh, like, okay, there you go.
He's gonna do something, but then I played something else out again that I did before. It didn't.
So there's the finalities right there. That you're on the finality track if you just continue that conversation.
Do I have to keep clicking on the goddamn book? Or is there something else to do?
No, you just refer to it during the beat up phase, and then you select I choose to move on, and that's the ending.
Okay, interesting. All right, but I mean,
so Corey, this is divided into like, you can basically, you find out that basically you're married to your sister, and your father, your half sister, because your father had her afterward or before you, and so your father is confronting you in his study about this, and I guess you have a mental breakdown, and you imagine this 12-minute thing where you go through this whole phase of, how you can comprehend what's going on. That's really what the whole thing's about.
Which is confusing, also considering, like, I don't know. So the game, it presents as if your sister murdered her father, your wife murdered her father in the past. And then this cop guy's coming to steal an heirloom from them and arrest her or kill her, I guess. And
kill her and steal the watch. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you just play along with her, and like she shows you that, we're having a baby, she says to you. And I did the perfect day one, which I actually did after the main reveal when I was confused as fuck, which felt very weird because I know that this is his sister. Because the perfect day one, you just have this romantic dinner, you dance with her, she loves you so much, and then you do awkward clothed almost sex in the bed at the end.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then that's the 12. I feel like that bed parts too just probably goes until the 12 minutes are up, no matter what, if you do it a little quicker, which is even more awkward.
Yeah. It's a one-pump chump, man.
But it's interesting, though. But, yeah, so I don't know. But what got me the worst here in the end game, I guess not even really end game section, was everything you want to do quick, because 12 minutes isn't the real time limit most of the time. The real time limit is like, I don't know how many minutes, like 4 minutes or something, until the guy shows up at your house to like beat you up.
I think it's 6 minutes.
It's not very long. So that's the real time limit. So you're used to trying to do things quickly. And then after the first revelation thing, the big twist that, you're the brother, you pick up the same pocket watch, and then you see it's spinning backwards like crazy. And you're like, that's interesting. And your guy says something, but I never lingered on that pocket watch because there's stuff to do. I'm like, I got to figure out what to do.
You just sit there and stare at it.
No, I know that was what to do. I spent literally 2 hours doing other things.
Oh Jesus!
I spent a night doing other things and not just staring at the fucking watch to move on. And then when I figured out that was it, I was so pissed off.
So yeah, the game's very frustrating, and ultimately the story doesn't play out to be what we thought it could be. And I don't know. That's just why I'm good with it. Never hearing about this game ever again.
The in your head stuff is a little lame. It's always lame when stuff like that happens. But
yeah,
it's
such a cool.
The twist itself is also kind of lame too. But it's like a soap opera type twist, I guess. And
so everybody's fine and nobody's dead.
Well,
maybe. Who knows? Like honestly, so the confusing thing here is that, and the developers, like, fuck them. I mean, like honestly, I would probably, I wouldn't harass them, but I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, I would just be frank with them. Like, what the fuck are you thinking? Because there's 3 voice actors or 4, I guess, technically, voice actors in the game.
Oh yeah, I forgot about.
And the cop is voiced by William Dafoe. Okay, but when you finally get to this revelation of speaking to your father, which is probably like, I don't know, 60-70%, like right before you can reach one of the first endings, it's your father, but it's voiced by William Dafoe.
Yeah,
so you're like, wait, is the father William Dafoe? Like, this is so fucking weird.
It wasn't clear at first. Yeah, you're like, I don't know what the fuck's going on here.
I'm like, yeah, it's hair now. That can't be him. But it's like, but why would he wouldn't be the father? Because he's close to your father. Oh, is your father in disguise? Like, you think of all this nonsense, like, because of the voice actors. Also, again, like we may have mentioned before, it makes no sense to have Daisy Ridley and James McAvoy speak in American accents and not sound like their big name selves the entire time. It's almost pointless.
I agree. I didn't even know it was Daisy. I knew it was Daisy Ridley, but you couldn't tell it was Daisy Ridley.
You couldn't tell. Like, I was like, what? This is
yeah.
And then,
why they got her to do voice work, I don't know.
Also, you can sort of tell that they're not voice actors here and there when there's like grunting type sounds, because it sounds super awkward. Whenever there's like yelling and grunting, they don't sound like they know how to do it right.
Yeah, but
the way things can go wrong in this game, they are pretty funny. I've shot myself. I've stabbed myself on purpose. I keep killing this guy over and over again. I've killed my wife. You're supposed to.
I knocked her out with sleeping pills. I knocked her out with sleeping pills and sat in a closet for him to come and find her.
Yeah, no, I mean, my setup, which ended up working a lot, is actually I do get tied up once. I just let him come in and tie me up, but it's after I set the light switch up and have her knocked out in the bedroom. So he'll tie me up. I'll break free. When he goes in there, he'll zap himself, get knocked out. I'll be good to go.
Why didn't you just hide in the closet and then he can go and knock himself out? Why'd you wait to get zip tied? I just hid in the closet. I never got zip tied after I only got zip tied when I was going to die. That's pretty much what happened.
No, I mean, because you can get out of it with the knife.
Yeah, you can, but I never did it that way. I always just set the light switch and then I just hid in the closet. And the first thing he always checks is the bedroom before he finds the closet.
Yeah. Sounds like you guys did the same thing to me.
It's close.
It's close. I didn't have to cut the
But I also noticed the game is incomplete or broken. Have you ever tried shooting things on the wall or anything?
No.
I never tried that. No. I was worried about time. I was like shooting him.
No, well, again, like I told you, 2 hours of useless things. I'm doing everything I can think of. I'm shooting the paintings, which I did notice change in different loops, so as things get even shittier. I shoot it, and then where like the subtitles are, it says particle effects, cracked texture, like in words, like really? That it comes up instead of showing any fucking like thing.
That's funny.
It says that.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's funny. But yeah, like I don't know. I wanted to like this game so bad, but in my experience, it was just shittier than it could be. And like the story too is just so fucking dumb. So again, Corey, the whole premise is that like at some like the very first loop, like you come home, talk to your wife, you're about to have dessert, she has something to tell you, blah blah blah, she's pregnant, spoiler alert, blah blah blah, you guys are gonna be a family. Alludes to like, oh, but you know, he's like, oh, I'm not ready, I'm not sure if I'm ready because I never knew my mother or my father, this and the other thing. And all of a sudden, cop knocks on the door, bursts in, zip ties you both and fucks you up or kills you.
Yeah.
Depending.
If you say anything wrong to him at this point, he's like, "I'm gonna strangle you."
Yeah, he just strangles you. So then you peel away this layer, this onion, which maybe goes too deep, I guess. I don't know, whatever I said the other week. But you find out that he's after your wife for the pocket watch that she got from murdering her father like 8 years ago or something like that. And he was a friend of her father's and something like that. And when you learn this information in the loop, you can come back home, and at first, like the first couple times you loop, you're trying to explain to her, be like, "Honey, I love you, but I'm stuck in a time loop." And she's like, "Ha ha, you're really funny." He's like, "Look, like it's about to rain," and she's like, "What? It's clear skies." And like a minute later, it's like boom, like thunderstorm. She's like, "Oh, that's freaky." And it's like, boom, look at this present. I know what's in here. It's baby clothes. She's like, "I just bought that this morning. That's amazing. How did you know that?" And it's like, okay, cool. So later on, once you get her to admit that she murdered her father and ran away, you can just come and be like, "Bam, honey, I'm stuck in a time loop. I could prove it because you told me all this shit about how you murdered your dad. How the fuck would you ever know that?" She's like, "You told me. Like, that's the only way I would ever know." And then she like gives you all this, like, she's like, "Oh, I felt so guilty, this and the other thing, sob story. And then twist alert, like at some point you figure out you, as the half brother, you're the one that killed the father for some reason. And then if you ever tell her about this, because you have to progress the story in a certain direction, she's like, "You're a monster. I can't believe I married you." And I'm just like, "Bitch, you just killed your dad 2 loops ago and you're feeling guilty about it. Now you hate me. Come on."
She is a bitch.
Yeah.
Almost.
So does he know from the start? Or do they
No.
know that from
Neither
the
of them
start
know.
that
It's
do they know from the start that they're siblings?
No.
No, that's the twist.
Although
That's the twist.
You sort of, there's doubt if it's like subconscious or buried for your player character.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. They never. I guess it's all in his head, but like the true ending reveals, I guess, what happened, but it's still not clear, like when it takes place or anything like that. It's so fucking stupid.
It
It's
is
so
weird
fucking
sometimes, because sometimes just to see where it goes, you play devil's advocate for the guy. So it's just like, I don't care. Like one of the ways you could go, which it's not the way you're supposed to, because I got kicked back into the loop.
This reminds me of that. There's like a movie or something, like one of those teen movies with the guy from American Pie in it or something, where he like realizes he's dating his sister or something at some point.
But actually, I think he probably does know, because it seems almost like when the father was talking to him in one of the near endings, like it's just like, "Oh, I knew this might happen," because I guess you were kind of sometimes around growing up, something, even though she doesn't know who you are at all. I don't know, maybe not.
No, he did say that. I could have
doesn't
seen
make
this happen.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
He did say something along the lines like, "Oh, I knew this might happen," or like he's like, "Oh, this is my fault." I'm like, "How?" Like, what? I mean, it's your fault because you had an affair, Willem. But,
Yeah.
no, it's pretty confusing, but it's still compelling. And I did have to play devil's advocate and say, "Oh, so what? She's my sister. I still want to be with her. We just don't tell her." I did that once and I got punched.
Yeah, that's how that ends.
I get punched.
Yeah, I did that one too. So yeah, I tried all those ones, but ultimately it's
Oh, we should
it's
have
a
done
great
12
idea, the
minutes
game.
on 12 minutes, but
Yeah.
I think we've passed
We
it.
went a little past 12
We
minutes.
might have.
Maybe it's close, but we're gonna wrap it up here. So yeah, let's see. Let's move on. Mike, I'm guessing that's all you played. That's all I have to talk about.
I played Greedfall too. Less than I wanted, because 12 minutes stole too much time from me.
Good. Get back to Greedfall.
Yeah. And Greedfall's the same. It's good. It's not great. It's good.
All right. Corey, anything? No. Tony?
I beat No More Heroes 3, which
nice.
was cool. Super fun. Crazy. Just every time something happens, you're like, okay, this is the craziest the game gets, and it's just like, nah, we're gonna get crazier. So like, spoiler alert, I don't know who, I doubt any of you guys will play the game.
Go ahead.
And I don't know about the listeners, but during the end sequence of the game, the cinematic, like you beat the final boss, and you go through this cinematic where like basically giant robot shows up. All right, and you're like, oh shit, a fucking giant ass robot. And there is a giant robot established in the No More Heroes universe in the second game. And your character, Travis Touchdown, calls her. He's like, hey, send me the giant robot. And the characters are like, we decommissioned that because it was dangerous because of anti-gravity, whatever science mumbo jumbo bullshit. And you're like, what? Okay, like, what are we going to do now? And then it's like, hold on, there's a rift in the time-space continuum. It's like, what? And it's like, there's something coming through. And then all of a sudden, the fucking mech from Deus Ex Machina, or Machina, the indie game last year, or came out 2 years ago, shows up. And Travis Touchdown literally says it in the game. He's like, whoa, it's the fucking mobile suit from that game. And it's like, all right, like, just hop in it. And it's like, just mind-blowing. I'm like, what did I just witness here? Like, I've never seen this before. It just like totally broke the fourth wall.
Total Deus Ex Machina to life.
Yeah, literally, yeah. So then whatever, that takes out the giant robot, and then you're like, does that anime trope cliche where it's like, all right, like the robots are away, now it's just you and me, mano a mano. But instead of like a traditional third-person action fight, Suda 51 totally ripped off, homage to Smash Brothers. And the last fight is a Smash Brothers fight. Because he's trying to get Travis Touchdown in Smash Brothers so long. And he's a me guest character skin and stuff like that. But it's just like, I was like, wait a second. Why are there percentages for health? And I was like, oh. I was like, I get you now. So it was fun. It was cool. It's so crazy. Glad I played it, and excited to see what they come up with next.
Okay, cool. All right. In news, we've got Mass Effect 5. I mixed this up we were in Discord. I thought we were talking about 4.
Well, I'm
not Andromeda.
I'm confused though too, because it depends on, do we count Andromeda as a spin-off series, or is that supposed to be secretly 4? Is the next one 5?
See, now you got me on that I was wrong, but now I'm rereading this headline,
I'm not sure.
and I think I read it right. I think I read this right, Mike. I think you're wrong.
I'm not sure. I don't understand.
Oh, now you're not sure. I was sure. So, again, it was posted that developer BioWare is reportedly considering a switch back to Unreal Engine for its next installment of the Mass Effect series, leaving EA's Frostbite engine behind, which, by the way, is probably a great idea. However, why even fucking tease the game if you haven't even gotten an engine in place?
Because they wanted to sell you Legendary Edition.
I thought that those remakes are just the opposite. Like, you see how that sells to see if you sell the next installment.
So you know what, Mike? I'll twist this here. I'll say that they announced Mass Effect, like, oh yeah, new Mass Effect is in development. All right. Because that could mean anything. That really, literally could mean anything from just like a visual, like, hey, here's a storyboard of what could happen. Because that's technically pre-production. And they're like, all right, well, let's release HD remaster, whatever, and see how it does to see if we'll, greenlight it and stuff like that. And now that it's made sales enough to like, EA is like, okay, we can salvage this IP after all this time. Now they're like, yeah, we're entering full pre-production now. It's like, yes, like we're gonna finally do this. Because that's literally what it could mean. And that's why, I was telling Jim, I was like, dude, they fucking teased Dragon Age 3, 2 years ago now at this point? Maybe 3, I forget.
I know.
How many Game Awards?
No, I know. I'm not saying, like, listen, when they tease a game, I'm not saying there's anything as a game. Like, I'm not saying it exists. However, when you I guess I did take for granted that when you tease a game that you've at least decided what engine it's going to run in at that point. I'm sorry, but like that's just it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, you're not building anything yet.
I mean, usually, but I've seen
not building
teams
anything.
switch engines while they're in production.
Final Fantasy VII Remake, Shenmue 3. It happens all the time.
It's just you're redoing the development cycle then, and you're 5-6 years away.
Well, the thing is, that's why you have an engine, though. So you're not you shouldn't be that far
see,
away.
like, I understand moving away from Frostbite because the biggest issues they kept saying with Frostbite is a very tough engine to work with if it's not a shooter. You know what I mean? Like, I've heard that how many times? I've heard it in Jason Schreier's book.
Frostbite was designed for something, and then EA is like, well, let's just use it for everything else. But it wasn't designed for everything.
It was in
Schreier's
book, right? Yeah, it was in that.
Definitely much more of a Swiss Army knife in that sense.
Yeah, and Unreal would work better for this game, and it has. So I'm good with this. I mean, I just feel like, why didn't you make that decision earlier? I'm glad EA's not mandating it. Don't get me wrong, but
I don't think them switching engines is a bit bad sign of things. To be honest, I think that it probably will speed things up because of how difficult Frostbite it was for them.
That's true. That's true.
Didn't they used to be Unreal?
Yeah, the first three or the first.
The first three were Unreal.
Yeah.
And then, oh wait, maybe the last one was Mass Effect 3
Three was Unreal.
Frostbite? It was Unreal still? Okay. That was about when they were making that transition, so.
Everything was Unreal at that point still.
Let's talk about Marvel's Midnight Suns, which got shown last week a little bit. I got to watch more of the game. It had more gameplay revealed today. And so it's a tactical game that we thought was going to be more like XCOM, and it kind of is a little bit, but it's a card game mixed into it. So I got to watch the gameplay today, so I kind of understand more about what this is. I don't know. I'm okay with it, actually. It looks cool. I'm sorry, but it does. Like, I think it looks kind of cool. Like, as long as it's not repetitive, like, I think and that's what I'm worried about, is just repetitive enemies. But I'm interested in it. I'm sorry. I really am. Like, little X-Men mixed into the universe, too. It's good to see that. I like the deck-based strategy in a fight. Like, reusing your cards. There's like the return card where you can use an attack and get the card back for one more attack. It's, you know what I mean? Like, it's like a double attack cards and stuff. I don't know.
I'm always interested to see how things turn out like that, where they're pulling like board game elements into video games. Like, look at Slay the Spire and how popular that was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I love Slay the Spire, and it spawned so many different card-based games. Like, even what was it? The Underground, the Digging Steampunk. I don't forget. There was some like indie steampunk game where it was like a 2D Metroidvania, and then like
Steam World
Dig. Yeah.
Steam World Dig. Oh, okay.
Yeah. They made a card-based system. It's like, okay, cool, and stuff like that. Yeah. And personally, I love that shit because it just makes you. It just feels different and new. And don't get me wrong, I love XCOM. I'm looking forward to the next XCOM game a lot, but I'm totally cool with them being experimental and just trying out something new. Because who knows?
I feel like though, like, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe they will implement this, but I feel like with the card system mixed with XCOM, I feel like there should be still a cover system base for help on defense. It doesn't seem like there is that in the game.
Yeah, who knows? They're doing a video tonight of the Wolverine versus Sabretooth battle, which I guess is part of the story or something like that.
I saw the Hunter one, and I didn't get any vibe where like taking cover in a fight does anything, and I'm like, I kind of like that aspect of it. If it would help with bonuses for your cards or something like that, I don't know. I feel like that's the aspect I don't.
Characters are going to be shooty.
I mean, not just shooty, but defense. Like, you could just take cover and then come out on your turn to attack.
Okay, I think like cover implies almost everyone being shooty, though.
Yeah, you're right.
Why they didn't?
Yeah. You might be right. I mean, these are superheroes, Doctor Strange and stuff like that. So they don't really need cover so much. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with it. I'm actually I'm interested in it to see how it comes out. They do have some graphical work to do on it, but that's early. So
it's not my type of game. We'll see if if it blows everyone away, then I'll definitely give it a look. After all, I tried Thronebreaker. I didn't finish it. That's not my type of game either. The Witcher spin-off thing. That's basically Gwent made into a little game. Should try this if it's good too, but we'll see.
Okay. All right, let's go into let's talk about the Tripwire CEO. I just want to get I don't want to end on bad news again. So let's get some other stuff out of the way before we get to any sort of good news. So Tripwire's CEO, former CEO now, tweeted out that he was so happy that Texas, banned abortions and lets people sue people who assist in abortions, and good for them and stuff like that. And then 4 days later, he's now no longer the CEO of the company. He has just been asked to step down. I'm sure with a nice severance package. Don't get me wrong, so he doesn't sue them. But the flack they got for that Twitter post was just ridiculous. Holy cow! I'm sure they got slammed like crazy. Obviously, I mean, I don't agree with his views at all. But this goes back to the point of I've heard it so many times, did you need to share that? Really? Did you need to share that? You can be happy all you want. You have your opinion on things, but do you need to scream it to the rooftops when you're the head of a company that has people that buy your product.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
keep it to yourself, dude.
People are just so stupid. It's like, oh, I want freedom of speech. Okay, it's like, okay, you have your freedom of speech. You can say that and not be jailed for it. But consequentially, people can be like, okay, well, you're a fucking asshole, and we're not going to support your company. Like,
that's perfect. That's perfect. Yes, that's the way to put it. Absolutely, 100%. He's able to say what he wants to say, sure. But you have to also you're reflecting a company as a CEO, and not even just CEO, but an employee of a company. You reflect them, and you need to take that into account before you make a statement. It goes back to Gina Carano, back with Disney.
I still feel kind of iffy on both of those, though. This gets into thought crime territory, it seems like to me.
I understand what you're saying, but I think what Tony said sums it up perfectly. At the end of the day, it's free enterprise.
At the end of the day,
it's free enterprise.
He's also talking about something that apparently was voted on and passed in a pretty big state. Like, it's not like he's the only one.
I'm not absolutely. I'm not saying that. It was not voted on and passed. It was Supreme Court overturned. It's not like the people voted together and say, okay, we're going to overturn this.
Someone voted for it, and it happened.
4 people did.
The thing is, like, when you represent something that's not yours, you have to realize there's going to be ramifications, and there's going to be, consequences to the things that you do and put out in the world. And if you have certain opinions and viewpoints, and your company does not have those viewpoints, they can dismiss you. And
like, it's not even
not even that.
Everybody's going to have that same view. Like, you can't
like that. No, I'm just saying, like, if they are again, it's not even that like they're never going to. It's just like you have to remember that you're representing something that's not yours, and you have to be conscious of what of that thing, what they want to be represented as, or what they want their views or image to be. You have to be conscious of that.
It's a different thing, though. You can separate the individual from it. It's not like he says, we at this company say. It's just like,
oh, you can, Mike. Not everybody can do that, though. That's the problem. And that's the thing, is that's why these things happen, is because people can't separate that from a company. If somebody says something and they represent that company, they feel it's like it's coming from that company.
It doesn't matter. He's a representative of the company, and even if he's saying it on his own personal account, it goes back to social media. Like, I don't post shit on social media. Like, very rarely do I post shit on social media. Like, I'm never on Facebook. On Twitter, I usually am like retweeting stupid shit like Mark Hamill tweets, and I just don't do things like that because it's out there, and I'm like, my opinions are my own, and I don't give a fuck whatever people think about my opinions. Like, they're my own.
Sure.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's also the same thing. Like, anything we say on this podcast could be used against us. Like, I mean, if we said something controversial, like theoretically, somebody listening to this was like, they were like a big, avid consumer.
We did say go get vaccinated. We did go post.
Right, we did say that.
You said you're against this guy's views, so I mean, maybe Ben Shapiro might go like, "What the fuck, Jim? You're a fucking idiot."
Yeah. If people wanted to stop listening to us because of that, like, then so fucking be it. I don't care. Like, I don't give a shit. But I'm not running a company, and my blood life does not depend on this podcast. Having people.
But I mean, we say what we're representing our brand as All You Can Geek, and I think everything that we talk about, it's representative of what we are putting out in the world as well. So it's, as long as you can stand by and be okay with the consequences, then you have nothing.
It's true. The idea is, though, it's like, I mean, that's it. It's a matter of like, his opinions do not represent the opinions of his company.
And it's so fucking funny to me. It's so fucking funny to me that it's conservatives who will cry wolf the very second anything is
free enterprise.
But what happened with, like, when Nike did a commercial with what's his name, the quarterback? Nealer, 49ers quarterback. Kaepernick. Yeah. Thank you. Like, when fucking Nike did an ad with him after the whole controversy, conservatives were left and right burning Nikes while they were fucking wearing them because they're fucking idiots. Like,
I knew that would be like a week-long thing for them.
Right, but
that was totally like, they knew what they were doing there too. It's like, let's get ourselves out there as much as possible.
But there's no bigger representation of conservative views than free enterprise.
Yeah,
and that's what this is. He has the right to say what he wants, and the business has the right to not employ him. It goes back to vaccinations and masks and whatever. It goes right back to that.
Shielding. I don't know what that has to do with that, but
It goes back to all of that. That's the free enterprise. The businesses have the right to do whatever they want with their employees, the kind of thing. That's the ultimate view of what conservatives want. I'm not saying that's the case. First of all, that does not represent my views and whatever. I'm just saying that that's the ultimate view of a conservative, that hands off government, let the businesses run themselves. That's what they want to do here. And yet they're still getting mandates from, you can't enforce a mask. You can't enforce vaccines. You can't, and then when this happens and they fire a guy who has a dissenting view of what they think and it costs them sales, then it's you can't do this. You know what I mean? Like it's either or. You can't have you can't have your
you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, that's it. It just drives me nuts.
But
whatever. He fucked around and he found out. So
yes.
What's this company? Who is this? What do they do?
Tripwire.
What do they do?
Yeah, I mean,
do they even matter in the first place?
Company game Maneater and Chivalry 2. I know Maneater. I've heard of that one. I've never played their games, but apparently they're big on PC. So
yeah, Chivalry. I've heard. I see that at
Unless he actually lives in Texas too, it doesn't make sense that he's weighing in on this too much either. It's kind of I
think he's from LA. I think he's from LA.
It's a dumb take and a dumb thing to say. I will say that, but I don't know if, the pitchforks need to force him out of a job just because of that. But
it's the businesses. Hey, listen, it's their call. They don't want to employ him. They don't have to.
Didn't he say? Isn't the official term though? He stepped down.
Yes, I'm sure he got a nice severance package.
Yes. So, I don't know. Well,
I mean, the way the things are worded is just for contractual purposes.
We think.
Usually. Yeah, I mean, it's just assumption, but who knows? It goes on that in behind the scenes. Let's
also go over Sony's upgrade path for PS4 to PS5 games. Yeah. It's a meaty podcast here, guys. So, PS4 version of Horizon Forbidden West will be able to upgrade to the PS4 version will be able to upgrade to the PS5 version for free because they said that explicitly.
Yes,
and they heard enough flack from people that when they made the comment that they couldn't do that at first, they heard shit and they changed their reverse course.
Yeah,
that's what just happened.
Yeah.
Moving forward, however, first-party exclusive cross-gen games will have a $10 upgrade option, which means you might as well just buy the PS5 version for $70 than $60 PS4.
Yeah.
Fuck Sony. Fuck Sony.
It's not a great plan.
Like this is what I've been talking about. Like this is peak arrogant Sony here, and the further like just obscurity in their fucking policies, where it's like they say one thing and then they fucking do the other. Like like the other year when they're like Miles Morales PS5 exclusive, and I was like, we were all surprised. We're like, oh, okay, like it didn't look that good, or I guess, or whatever.
Well, I remember though that they didn't explicitly say that though. That's why I said it's like best and like it didn't say that, and I'm like,
but they said in interviews. They said it in an interview like it's PS5 exclusive. Like you still find that.
I'm looking right after the video that was shown.
Jack Ryan
in the next
PS5 exclusive.
Yes.
I remember talking about this because I think Mike, you and I both said there's no way this is PS5 exclusive.
But they literally said that right after.
And then Tony, I think you brought it up saying like, oh no, this guy's saying it. It's like, okay,
literally after
whatever.
that reveal, they interviewed him right after that video reveal, and he said it's a PS5 exclusive.
Yeah. But beyond that, then they're like, oh, we feel games like Horizon and God of War, we really want a separation of generations and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, no, these games are coming to PS4 too. It's like, what the fuck? And then now it's like, and just what? It just baffles my mind why they're like, oh, you know what? We're gonna charge you for it. We're not gonna let you just simply upgrade when all these third-party publishers who like have less of a vested interest in giving you something for free because they make less money per copy sold. So you think they would be the ones doing it because there's a penalty to them, but there's no penalty to Sony. But now Sony's like, no, fuck you, pay us $10. It's like, what? Like you really want this $7 price tag on your fucking first party games now? Like, cool, I totally get it. You're gonna sell 10 to 15 million copies of Spider-Man 2 and God of War 2 and Uncharted 5, or is it 5? Whatever the fucking next one. I lost fucking count.
It would be 5. It would be 5 if it exists. Yeah, if it exists.
So this is fucking peak arrogant Sony, and it's just like whatever. They'll say anything.
It goes back to why it goes back to the PS2 to the PS3 to the PS4 to the they just do this in cycles. They do it in cycles.
It has a lot to do though with the weirdness of this launch, where people still can't get it when they want it. but then like it's selling ridiculously well. So it's a weird spot where the install base is still nowhere near what it needs to be to not lose.
That's a chip
sales.
shortage.
Yeah, well, so
It's not their
lose
fault
sales.
there, but it's just I'm just saying.
And but the fact remains, they're sort of admitting that these games are always cross-generational in this time where they can run on the old hardware just fine. They just have fancier bells and whistles on the current gen stuff. And now they're kind of admitting it this time, and they're also moving the goalposts because they want to see where the install base is, I think. And I don't even have a problem with games eventually being $70 because again, like they've been.
No, I'm absolutely all for it, but it just
We've
this
said
this
price
policy
games are
feels
going
like it's like they just want to artificially inflate the price of a PS4 game,
Well,
like the new upcoming PS4 games, to $70.
It does seem like if there's going to be someone or some type of game that can justify it, it would be them. It would be their.
Well, that's the
those
problem.
types of
That's where we're getting into the arrogant Sony. That's you're right, Mike. What you just said is correct, but that's getting into the arrogant Sony.
Right. And look, I'm absolutely
Sure,
all
but
for roasting companies
right.
do
I
this
think
shit.
it's true.
Right? Like when fucking Xbox was with their whole launch debacle of Xbox One and like, the whole controversy over like, connecting to the internet every, whatever
24
period
hours.
it was.
24 hours.
And like Sony took advantage of that. Said, this is how you let a friend play your game, and here you go, here's your disc. Because you couldn't do that on the concept model, the Xbox One, right? And here Xbox, one of the best things they do is your library, your history of Xbox carries with you, like your account, and you can play it, like regardless of what it is, and like you pay one price and you have it.
Absolutely.
Right? Xbox has been doing that for a while. They've been advertising and using it as
It's going to be their sell point this entire next generation.
And then Sony comes out and they're like, "Nah, that's fucking dumb. Give us money." And it's like, all right, bro, like you should rightfully be getting roasted for this. And thankfully, the internet, the PlayStation fanboys didn't, just fucking roll over and be like, "Oh, okay, well, naughty gods, I'll pay $10 extra to play, Last of Us 2 on PS5." It's like, okay, cool. Finally, people spoke up. It's like, no, we're not gonna take this shit, Sony. So, look, in 72 hours on a holiday weekend, they fucking reversed that decision. So you knew they were like, ah, shit, can't get away with this, guys.
No, I mean,
I don't know if they're going to get away with it.
In that
for the
game
upgrade path.
specifically, though, more recently they did say that it would, be the same price pre-upgrade for that.
Just make a policy and stick with it, though. Like, if you don't like your policy, then
It's
change the whole
different
thing.
for every
Because
fucking
I
game.
think they wanted it originally to be an exclusive, and then they're like, we can't. There's just not enough out there for us.
Just run a reverse course on everything, then. Might as well just slam them for everything.
It's just crazy because, like you're saying, Tony, like look at where they were when PS4 and Xbox and like One, and how they were coming so far from behind because 360 was just so dominant.
Yeah.
And then they had to do like this whole like guerrilla, marketing styles. Like, look at PS4. Like we're getting all these indies. We're doing showcases solely on indies. We're like all in on these indies, and we're gonna help them build them up. And this is gonna be the place to play now because it's like you don't want all that corporate bullshit with Microsoft, and this is for the gamers. And now it's like
we've changed.
It's the whole Dark Knight. Either
They
die the villain or die the
do it-
hero. See yourself become the
They
villain.
do it every other generation now.
Yeah,
I mean, it's only,
that's what happens. It's like it seems
One
like
is a
every
bad guy
system.
each time. Yep.
yeah, they keep reversing, and now I'm hoping that I really hope Microsoft has a good run on first-party games because I love them to.
Well, they
really
actually have a few exclusives. Not that soon, but
yeah, but I mean, like they have the greatest idea for a platform in terms of what Tony just said, the ease of use in terms of what game can I buy for this? Doesn't matter, it plays. And they have Game Pass. And if they can just get their stuff together with their first parties, because that's their weakness, they just don't have it. That's where Sony can dominate. But if Microsoft can come back and do that, they could really they could force Sony to become competitive again. It's a good thing to have competition in the market, and I feel like right now Sony feels like they don't have it, and they're running with their business.
Yeah, they need their own Game Pass, like a real one. PlayStation.
But they don't feel like they need it. They don't need it because of how good they're dominating.
Right.
Yeah,
and I mean, we just need to go back 2-3 years ago when crossplay wasn't widely accepted. It took fucking Epic being like, "Oops," or was it Rocket League? One of the two.
It was Rocket League.
Oops, we accidentally
no, it was Fortnite.
It was Rocket League. No, Rocket League turned it on accidentally. Like I thought it was
No,
Rocket
no,
League.
Rocket League said it was they could do it very easily, but it
Oh,
was
okay.
Fortnite where they're like,
Turned it on.
we turned it on by accident. Sorry, guys, just to show. Like, yeah, it's fucking that easy. Like, just 3 years ago, Sony was being the one to be a fucking asshole and be like, no, you can't play with your friends. Only your friends on PlayStation. It's like, fuck you. It's like you
We
can't
gotta
play
keep
with
this
down the street.
community close. We don't know those people over there. Who
Yeah.
are they?
Child
Disgusting Xbox players.
Yeah. Like, fuck you. Fuck out of here. Fuck
Yeah.
off.
Fuck Sony. There we go. We done it. They do have a PS5 showcase next week.
I love the transition, but they have a PS5 showcase next week.
September 9th. So 2
Damn
days
it,
from
Jim.
now.
You're like that. You're like that person in the relationship where it's so abusive, and then you just have you get away for a little bit. It's like it wasn't that bad though. I'm back.
Listen, for those who are wondering, I'm a Mets fan.
Well, I'm a Jets fan, and
we're into abusive relationships.
I mean, yeah.
Just when you think you're out, they pull you back in. No, but Sony does have an event next week, this week for a PS5 showcase. So look for that on Thursday. I think at 1 o'clock Pacific.
You can
so
watch the Matrix trailer, and then you can slide right into those PlayStation games.
Yeah. And then lastly, Alan Wake Remastered coming this fall to PC, Xbox, and this is next gen, right? PS5?
That was the confusion.
I think PS4 also.
It's also on last gen, I think, too. But
Okay.
Yeah.
4K
headline
re-release.
talked about next gen.
Yeah. Yes, it's a 4K re-release of the game, and this paves the way for Alan Wake, the sequel, I believe. Finally, I hope.
Yeah, I'm really interested in this. Actually, I'm happy they're remastering because Alan Wake was one of the games I actually missed out on.
Yeah, I missed
Same here. Yeah.
But I heard
I
really
have
good-
it on my Steam library. I'm looking right at it. I got Alan Wake and Alan Wake's American Nightmare.
Well,
I've
now
never
you-
actually played them.
Now you
Tony,
know me at this point.
Tony, you linked the Polygon article?
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't. Anyways, sorry. Go on. I'm just gonna get around this. Let me get my head through this.
But no,
stuff.
Remedy's a great. They usually do some pretty neat stuff, and Alan Wake was definitely one of those very popular games that wasn't solely like action shooter in this whole action shooter like craze.
Like I really enjoyed my time with Control recently, and apparently one of the expansions is kind of a tie into Alan Wake. It's supposed
That's
to
what
be
I've heard too.
in the same universe, which I might play that again soon. So I'm definitely just going back to see it for this.
I mean, for me, I got into Quantum Break and then I played Control, so I'm ready to go into this as well. I missed this one, so this was perfect timing for me as a new fan of Remedy. I'm actually looking forward to this, and then obviously a sequel afterwards would be cool because I've heard such good things about this game for years.
Didn't they do Max Payne? Weren't they the
And they
Max
did Max
Payne
Payne.
people?
Yeah, that guy's still working there. He might be the only one, but the guy who's his face is apparently still working at Remedy, which is pretty amazing because you don't get people working at the same video game company for
2000.
that long.
That's like from like 2001, the first game, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's about 20 years.
Bullet time, baby.
Yeah. Wow. So it's good news. I'm psyched for this actually. Like, and that's supposed to come out next month, isn't it? October?
Yeah.
Or is it?
It's sometime
very
this
soon.
fall.
Yeah, I've heard end of October. So
Pretty
we'll see. We don't have an actual date yet, but I've heard that. That's the rumor. Actually, I heard 19th is the date I was hearing, somewhere around that time. So look for that. I'm interested in that, and yeah. All right. I think that's. Did I skip any news? I don't think I did. Nope. That gets all the news out of the way. It's gonna wrap up this episode of the Gamecast. Thanks for tuning in. You can write us allyoucangeek@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe and that like button. See you guys next week. We're out.